Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the brand spanking new Shake and Bake multi series. Uh, Two disciplines in one night, running GT cars in the first sprint race and then touring cars in the second sprint race. Two very different vehicles, but two very fun to drive vehicles. Each night there will be two different point systems, and there will be an overarching point system between the two of them. So that'll be fun. It's not going to be the largest of fields, and it's going to be pretty short races, so these should be pretty fun to watch. On that note, let's go ahead and dive in right here. The very first race in this new series will be the GT cars at Daytona, the Daytona Sports Car Course. Large track. Anyone who knows anyone that is a racing fan knows of the 24 hours of Daytona, and we're gonna do more like the 24 minutes of Daytona here tonight in the very first race. But before we do anything else, let's take you for a lap around this brand spanking new racetrack that we're going to be, or not brand spanking new racetrack, but around the track in these cars in this brand new league of ours. Alright, now here is a lap around Daytona Sports Car Course in the Corvette. Long straightaway down into turn one, multiple ways to attack this corner. You can enter low and sort of diamond it, or you can sweep your way in there. Either way, you need to get a good launch off the corner. Go through this little quick switchback that can be really deadly, especially on restarts and early and the initial start of the race. Long sweeping right-hander that can be really tough, especially on exit. Got to get the power down into the kink, which on older tires you might need a little breath of the throttle, especially if you are racing someone. Definitely have to slow down. A weird corner here, maybe the most difficult corner on the racetrack. Have to wrap the exit, get a good launch off the corner, switch back over to the right side for another somewhat difficult corner, but very forgiving on exit with a lot of runoff on the other side. But got to get that power down so you can make good lap time, because the exit is incredibly important, because now you get to go all the way through turns 1 and 2. Here you will be able to notice who is on a wheel and who is on the controller. Wheel will obviously be a little bit steadier. Controller users will probably have to make some slight adjustments as they're trying to wrap the oval. Long way down the back straight in to the bus stop. Really difficult to get right. It gets really light, especially here in the back half of it. Got to get that exit all the way through the oval 3 and 4. Going to be an important passing zone if you're able to draft up with somebody. Get alongside someone, drag race them down to the start-finish line and beat them into turn 1. There's your pit entry, which should not be used tonight. And that is a lap around Daytona. Alrighty. Hope y'all enjoyed that. We have about 4.5 minutes, a little over, nearly 5 minutes until the race begins. The drivers are currently in the midst of practicing and qualifying, and so I am unable to spectate that, unfortunately. That's a big old shame, but I could just hop out there if I wanted to, but yeah, unfortunately, there is no option to spectate during this time, and so it'll be a nice big mystery as to who qualifies where. The big favorites are, based on what little I have seen of most of these drivers. Least Justin should be fast. Ferrari Nut typically really quick in all races on Forza, but he is very little practice toward this discipline, toward this race. He is more leaning toward the touring cars. Not really sure why, but I guess so that when he wins these races, he can feel even spiffier about himself. But yeah, he will be the driver to watch tonight as far as making up positions goes some other drivers that we typically see. We have Frozen Toast 24 out there. She is typically a commentator here for Shake and Bake, and you see her, you can listen to her every Monday night in the Shake and Bake iRacing NASCAR series, and here she is out on track with us. So it's good to see her out there. Hopefully she doesn't get knocked around too hard, and she's able to come home with a nice clean race car, and if she does, from the times I've seen, she should be relatively competitive, very competitive. So this will be fun. Hearing on the radio that Skylan destroyed his race car, so he will be starting in the back. He is a driver that is typically very fast on Forza as well. But again, we won't really know until we all get out there and see what happens. One thing that is worrying me a little bit as I'm sitting here is I do not see an option to spectate at all, which is something that normally does happen. So, I don't know, I'm a little curious. Hearing several drivers, I think legit as well, blew his car up. So yeah, there's a lot of issues out on the racetrack in this qualifying session. Again, it's a crying shame that we don't get to see that, but not the most robust of spectating systems in Forza Motorsport. But hey, at least we have one now. We'll see here. In a minute, should be able, hopefully for spectating, to become an option. We have 1 minute until practice ends, and then we will see what happens here. Really going to be interesting to see how drivers like Scarface 3D, Stanton Drums, Jacob X99 stack up. Haven't seen a whole lot of them practice so far this week. They are going to be sort of wild cards, as well as Sober David 89, drivers that are typically frequenting the F1 league that this league is sort of not replacing, but taking the place of during its end of season hiatus. Anyways, here on pole we have Leaf Justin 24. He qualified on the softs. I imagine everyone is going to be on the mediums here for the race. Stanton Drums 94 P2 on the board with a 147. 148 637 is Frozen Toes. She is starting P3. Dion 4Dub starting in 4th. Scarface 3D starting 5th. JCX14104, lots of numbers. Jarrett Caldwell starting in P6. Gary Maitland, also known as Gary from Canada, will roll off in the 7th position in the Orange Alligator. Jacob Cardwell in the Yellow Corvette will start P8. Sober David 89, our local Irishman, will roll off in P9. Ferrari 94 in P10. Skyland 4 is P11. And Legit X14 will round out the rest of the field in 12th, and I am, for some reason, out there in 13th. Okay, there we go. We are now in proper shape here. We're queuing up for the pace lap. There will be 14 green flag laps, 15 overall. And you can see, lap 1 will be a pace lap at speed around 70 miles per hour. Not really 100% sure if that's exactly it. There was never a truly scientific number decided upon. But Leaf Justin here will roll them off in P1 with Stanton Drums, Frozen Toast 24D on for Dub, Scarface 3D, Gary from Canada, JC, Jacob, Sober David, Ferrari Nut, Skyline, and Legit. That is your field once again for this very first race in the Shake and Bake multi-discipline series. Oops. And this is my first time using this interface, so there will be a lot of ridiculous me screwing up moments, so just bear with me there. Let's see. Give me that car telemetry. Alright. Rolling down the backstretch here. The initial start will be, I believe, on the leader. There is the entire field, all 12 drivers heading to the best stop for the final time at pace speed, and then hopefully the final time at pace speed. And again, I believe this is going to be based on the wear settings and other factors. This will be a medium tire race. Most of these drivers should be on the medium tire. Some may try the softs, and the softs may work in the hands of drivers who can manage their tire wear well, or who are running maybe a slightly slower pace that the tires don't wear out as fast. But I believe everyone will be on the medium tire. And here we come down to the start-finish line, past the pit road entry, which serves as the first part of the start zone. And Leaf Justin takes off. They will head into turn 1 here in the very first race of the GT half of the Shake and Bake multi-class series, or multi-discipline series. All of them heading down into turn 1. A lot of contact deep in the field. Justin gets off to a great launch, heads through the little kink, down into turn 4. Again, nice and orderly. A lot of contact. The driver sends it in really deep. I believe that was Ferrari Nut back there. Let's go and see what is happening up there. We have Gary from Canada, who is behind this mess as they all go down through the kink. One of the more difficult turns into on the track they're going into right now, but nice and orderly. Gary a little bit wide. Everyone's still single file. Big stack up. Big race here for 4th between Dion 4Dub, Scarface, JCX12, 104, and Ferrari Nut. Everything kind of spreads out as they get onto the oval. Kind of acts like an accordion. Everything comes together in the infield and then spreads out a little bit as these drivers get up to speed. But then, as they start drafting upon each other, everything kind of accordions back together right before they get to the bus stop here. Nice and clean line here from Ferrari Nut. You can hear the RPM pegged. I believe that is a glitch that I am hearing. I really hope it is, because that is not healthy for the engine if it isn't. Damage is on, complete and in full. Side by side for the lead here as they go down into turn 1. Leaves Justin able to hold off there. Stanton falls back in line in 2nd place as they head deeper into the infield section. Let's look back here a little bit deeper in the field. Scarface going to be working on Dion while under pressure from Ferrari Nut in that unfortunate position of having to try to play offense and defense at the same time. They will head down into the kink. Through there, Scarface going to see if he can maybe dive to the right. Not quite close enough. Through the right-hander, Ferrari Nut goes way off track. Might have just locked him up there. Actually able to hold on to that position, though, as JC not able to capitalize. Skyland still behind him. Let's see here. We're a lap and a half through here. Ferrari Nut has made up 4 positions. Skyland has made up 3. Gary from Canada has fallen 4. Those are your biggest movers and losers so far in the opening stages of this GT race. Skyland with a big move to the inside. Ferrari trying to throw a block 3 wide. Skyland is going to be able to get 2 of them here going into the bus stop on the back straight. And then he blows the corner. You saw him right there as he made that excellent move on the back straight, but then had to pay for diving in just a little bit too deep. Loses a lot of ground all the way back to the 11th position. Must have spun it out completely there. Must have lost the car completely. After that excellent start, he is going to have to start all over again, and he is well back from the next driver, Gary from Canada, all the way at the start-finish line, while he is barely at the pit road entry. Working through menus. Back here to Scarface. Still working on Dion 4Dub. No pressure from behind by Ferrari Nut, but still, Scarface trying to find a way around. Stanton Drum still maintaining a close distance to Leafs Justin 24. Justin sees him in his mirror, but not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Scarface all over that rear bumper of Dion 4Dub. Those two right behind Frozen Toast 24 by about 10 car lengths. Still no pressure out back for Scarface. This is the closest battle on the racetrack at this moment. Scarface going to try to use the draft on the NASCAR oval. And you can see both of these drivers on controllers through there, trying to maintain a nice steady line. Very difficult to do on a controller on this game, especially if you work your settings to try to maximize the rest of the racetrack. Using a lot of dirt there. Loses a little bit of time to Dion through the bus stop. We'll have to make all of that up. and try again next lap. Let's go back here to Jacob X99, who is working on Sober David while he is under pressure from Gary from Canada as they head down to the start-finish line. Gary staying in line, all of them looking like they're trying to bump draft their way around the oval, but they'll have to slow down here for turn 1. Jacob takes a really wide line. It looked like he wanted to do the cross, but Sober David ends up hitting that inside wall. That actually screws up the cross, but he's still able to pull it off. David loses 2 positions, but is able to keep going. Gary, a little bit of bumper music with the Corvette of Jacob, a battle of 2 Corvettes here. They head down into the kink. Jacob getting a little bit of a gap on Gary from Canada. Gary starting to fall back into the clutches of Sober David, who is looking to bounce back from that relatively small mistake in turn 1. It didn't cost him a lot of track position as far as distance goes, but losing both of those spots as, well, losing 2 spots in track position, not what you're looking for. Meanwhile, looks like Scarface looking to that outside of Dion4Dub, going to try to force him into a mistake here. Dion able to hold on to the car, but he's going to go a little wide here. That's going to give Scarface the opportunity. He goes into his right rear, it looked like there, instead of setting up the pass. Maybe just a little bit loose there. Really difficult. The car very, very unstable through the bus stop. Scarface now going to take one more look. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead also heating up. While this battle rages, let's go and look and see what is going on up front as Stanton Drums 94 looking to the inside of Leaf Justin. Justin not conceding any ground through the switchback. They head down into the horseshoe. Justin staying strong, going to clear himself off the corner. Nope. No Max Verstappen action there. Stanton concedes, does not want to go side by side through the kink. Leaves Justin able to hold on to the lead here, but Stanton Drums 94 showing a lot of strength, potentially the best race car on the track at this moment, at least amongst our leaders. While this battle has widened out a small margin, let's take a look at Dion4Dub, who is now all over the rear end of Frozen Toes. Eliza Bethal, our usual broadcaster for these types of events, currently running a very strong P3 at the moment. Dion in P4, Scarface running out in 5th. These 3 all on top of each other. You could cover them with a blanket, but they are still a ways away from our leaders, who are now exiting the bus stop as they are entering. Ferrari Nut working on the back end of JC here as they head through the bus stop. We have distinct little packs of race cars kind of showing up. We have our 2 leaders who are kind of together, then we have our next 3 who are on top of each other, and then we have these 2 battling each other, and then another group of 3, it looks like they're in the back with Jacob, Sober David, and Skylan. But right now, Scarface and Dion4Dub going into the corner. No, wait. Yes, that is Dion. Or no, that's Ferrari Nut. Okay, I have that completely wrong. Yeah, that is Ferrari Nut making the pass around the outside of JC, so move him up into P6. JC back to 7th. Now, Ferrari Nut going to try to run down this group of 3 who are in a heated battle. Look like maybe going off track there was Dion4Dub, and that is going to cost him a lot of ground as Scarface tries to make that pass. Frozen Toes sails off into the already set sunset. Very strong move from Dion there as he's able to outbrake Scarface into the corner, hold him off, make that move around the outside. As all of this continues on, let's check in on our 2 leaders up here. Leafs Justin maintaining about a 10-car length lead as they head down the back straight into the bus stop. Stan able to get in there really deep and able to maintain throughout the rest of the corner. That was a really strong set of turns there for the Beamer. Side by side for the 4th position. Scarface and Dion, this battle still continues. Who will win out? Scarface gonna have to dive in there really deep. We've seen Dion be willing to go in deeper. This time, Scarface, he's gonna try the crossover, but Dion 4Dub, again, gonna make it stick. Gets a little loose. Scarface not gonna have any option except to back out just a little bit there to keep him running into the rear end. And once again, Dion doing an excellent job of maintaining his track position. This is an excellent race here for the 4th spot between these 2 drivers. A little bit further in the pack, Jacob has now given up that spot to Silver David. And has managed to pull away from Gary from Canada. Skyland has hit pit road legit well back as well. Both of those 2 drivers have had issues, it would seem. Skyland, remember, driving off the track through the bus stop earlier on in this event. Oh, we've had an issue up here for the lead. Stanton Drums taking a look. He is now 4.2 seconds back. Not sure what happened over the course of that race to cause this gap to grow. But either way, Leaf Justin now in a very comfortable position as we are hitting the halfway mark of this race. We'll go back to this battle for the 4th position, and it is now currently the closest battle on the racetrack between Scarface and Dion 4Dub. We'll check in with Dion here. Dion cheating to the outside a little bit early, but still just trying to get good and set up for the corner. Then takes a somewhat defensive lower line than what Scarface does. Goes a little bit wide here, puts his tires in the dirt. Scarface actually seems to have given him a lot of leeway there, but now Scarface will take it down the inside, try to outbrake him, but Dion has been able to get deep into the corner every single time. They're going to be side by side down the corner here, or down the straight, I should say, heading into the kink. It looked like Dion might have cleared himself. Scarface once again giving him a little bit of a break as they head down into the hairpin. And if you're Scarface, you are getting absolutely annoyed at this point. You're frustrated. You know you're faster, but you just haven't been able to make the pass. And that's the one thing these drivers have to do some research on the car they choose. They have to run that car all season long. Obviously, this game has ways you can balance the cars if need be through setups or through something as simple as ballasts. So if one car tends to be overpowered, there's an easy way to fix that. But these drivers initially have to do their own sort of research, and the differences in the cars can create moments like this where it can be difficult to pass. The old Corvette is a little bit weaker on the straightaways as Ferrari Nut just kind of moved Scarface out of the way through turns 3 and 4 NASCAR. He will move up into the 5th position, and that's a driver who is, you just saw him move Scarface for that position. Will he be willing to do the same to Dion 4Dub to try to move into that 4th spot? Likely so. I would believe we would see that, but he will be running down that pink and blue machine up in front of him as the Dodge Viper, I believe it's the only Dodge Viper out there in this field, It was a late option, late choice. Ferrari Nut was not going to initially be in this race. He was only going to run in the GT race, but here he is, out there right now, and working lap 10 with the rest of these guys here at Daytona. Meanwhile, interestingly, the ticker has somewhat frozen a little bit here. That's not ideal. As Jacob has now lost that spot to Gary from Canada. We were talking about him getting away. He must have made a small mistake, allowed Gary to make that pass. He is now falling back into 10th with Gary from Canada in the 9th spot. Meanwhile, Ferrari Nut running down Dion for Dub at the moment. Now within a half a second, as both of them are trying to close the gap on Frozen Toast 24. Follow along with the old chase cam. Actually, let's jump on the hood here. Give it a more realistic camera angle as they head down past the start-finish line. Ferrari Nut looking to set up. He's going to go way wide, try to sail it around the outside of Dion for Dub. Not going to be able to make it stick. He will stay in line in 5th, but that is a move that if he is a little bit closer, a little bit more patient with it, he will be more than capable. Maybe a little bump there. Maybe that was a little bit of a bubble here on the replay screen. Might have been a tiny bit of contact between the two there, as Ferrari Nut not going to have a lot of patience. He's going to be looking for that podium spot, and with only less than 5 laps remaining, about 4.5, Dion getting a lot of grass there. He is going to be out of control. Ferrari Nut going to be looking down in on the inside. He will be able to make that pass. Dion going to look for the crossover, but not going to be able to get it done. Move Ferrari Nut up into the 4th position. Dion for Dub back to 5th, and Scarface has to be back there wondering, oh, it was that easy, huh? Stanton Drums has made up a tiny bit of ground on Leafs Justin, but now Ferrari Nut makes a mistake through the bus stop. That's going to move Dion for Dub back around him, back into the 4th spot. This has been an excellent race for this position. A crazy game of leapfrog and bumper tag, and still, Dion for Dub is currently the leader in that race. 4 laps to go. Leafs Justin all by his lonesome out here. Haven't really shown him on camera much in this race, but for a fair amount of it now, he has been about 4.5 seconds ahead of Stanton Drums. It was about 5 earlier, 5.5, so Stanton has made up a little bit of ground, but not quite enough to make up that gap. Also, looking at the ticker, once again, these two side by side. Dion must have made it. Oh, they're going to work on each other just a little bit. Dion out in the grass. He's going to shove it in there. What a race between these two. Ferrari Nut going to hang on the outside. Dion going to try to clear himself. No, he leaves Ferrari Nut some room. Ferrari Nut now in the preferred line. He's going to dive it down there. Try to use that right rear to push the I believe BMW up of Dion for Dub. That will help him make the pass, clear him, move him back into the 4th spot. Now Ferrari Nut going to have to run mistake-free to try to catch Frozen Toast 24 in the remaining 3 and change laps. Ferrari really seems to be struggling through the bus stop. That's where he's lost that position a few times, and again, Dion able to make up a fair amount of ground, but not quite enough. And I believe Ferrari Nut now going to be able to hold on to that spot. We will see if he's able to sail off into the sunset. We've already used that one multiple times, But you can still cover them with a blanket as they head down into turn 1. Dion going to look around the outside. Ferrari Nut almost pushes him up into the wall. He's going to dive in there much deeper. Dion a little quicker through the center of the corner, trying to maintain on the inside. Not going to be able to make that pass as the battle for 4th continues to rage on. Meanwhile, Frozen Toes, not her best set of corners, but also it looked like she hasn't really lost a lot to Stanton. So it looked Ferrari Nut and Dion for dub, both putting down some decent lap times here at the moment. Look out the back, and by out the back, I mean outside of out the back. At the closing in, Owen Williams, known as Ferrari Nut here on the interwebs. A little bit of a rough exit there as Frozen's able to pull away a fair amount, heading back onto the oval. She's going to work her way down the back straight here. With about a 15 car length lead on Ferrari Nut 94 for this final podium spot in the very first GT event of the Shake and Bake multi-series challenge, multi-discipline series challenge thingy. Ferrari Nut with an excellent bus stop that time, able to get to her right rear immediately through the corner. Off of NASCAR turn 4. A lot of power in that Viper as he's able to try to make it. He's going to try to clear himself, but not going to quite be there. They're going to head down into turn 1. Frozen concedes the spot. Looks like she might try the cross, but not going to be able to get it done. Ferrari Nut 94, after starting deep in this field, now up into the 3rd position, but 6 seconds behind Stanton and another 3.5 behind Leafs Justin. It's going to be a little too little. It's going to be too little too late for the race win, but still an excellent performance out of him to make up this kind of ground in a car that he has not driven at all. And with a lap and a half to go, he is looking to finish in the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, a battle here between JC and Scarface starting to heat up just a little bit in the waning moments of this race. These two on top of each other as they are heading back out onto the oval course. Scarface has kind of struggled since losing that battle with Dion. Maybe got a little heated, maybe made a few mistakes, maybe just had some bad luck, who knows. But either way, JC has also put down some good enough laps to be able to catch him. And they are going to head down into the bus stop for the penultimate time with him right on his tail. Very smooth bus stop out of JC. A relatively clean one for Scarface as well. The gap maintains just a little bit. Scarface may be able to gain a 10th or 2, actually. They're on the back straight. Meanwhile, Frozen staying in touch with Ferrari Nut 94 as they take the white flag here on this final lap in the GT Series at Daytona. Not quite there, not quite close enough to be able to make any sort of move, and it's going to be tough to do so. Let's head to our leader here, as he is about halfway through, really dives it in there, makes a very sharp angle into first gear, and the gearing of these cars is different for everybody. Actually, it's showing me first gear everywhere because this is glitched, so never mind. But now, under 3 seconds, Stanton has slowly eaten into this lead, but it's not quite going to be enough. He's going to need a major mistake. A clean bus stop for Leaf Justin 24 wins him this race. The inaugural GT Series event at Daytona. Through the bus stop, clean entry, clean center, solid exit. Loses a couple of tenths to Stanton there, but not important at all Leaf Justin 24 now rounding the oval. Stanton just ever so slowly catching up to him, but it's just not quite going to be enough. As Frozen Toes was actually able to get back around Ferrari Nut, but our leader, our winner of the inaugural GT race at Daytona is Leaf Justin 24. Stanton Germs comes home in the second spot. Ferrari Nut loses that spot to Frozen Toes. She is going to come home in third. Ferrari Nut P4. Dion 4 Dub comes home in the fifth spot. Sober David Scarface JC, it looks like, is going to come home in the eighth spot. Nope. Looked like he was going to make the pass there, but not quite able to. Maybe some sportsmanship or gamesmanship or some anger here. Actually, this is showing... Yeah, okay. And that race has ended. So Leaf Justin 24, Stanton Drums 94, Frozen Toast 24, Ferrari Nut 94, Dion 4 Dub, Sober David, Scarface, JC, Jacob, X99, Gary from Canada, Skyland, and Legit are your top 12, your 12 finishers here tonight in the first leg of our two races we are going to be running here this evening. Let's hop back on board here with our leader. We'll see if I can maybe talk to these guys here. Alright, now that I have the party in my speakers, hold on, guys. Let me grab a hold of our race winner here right quick, just for funsies. Leaf Justin 24, do you got a copy?
Possibly.
Oh, well, thank you. Started on the pole, led most of the laps, talk about your night. I'm pretty sure every lap, actually. So, talk about your evening at Daytona, so...
You basically summed it up, I guess. Barely getting the pole. I think it was like 2 1,000s. And it was kind of stressful, like the first however many laps it was. Stanton was everywhere in my mirror the entire time until he was almost in my back seat. And then from that point on, it was just don't screw up anything major. And managed to not do that. Keep the tires under me and keep them all on the track, pointed in the right direction, and managed to get it done.
Yep, so now that you've gotten that race out of the way, what are your thoughts and feelings on the upcoming race at Hakone?
I feel like I prepared for this Hakone race a lot more than the one we just did. This is honestly the one that I was expecting to like be competitive in. I've grown to like this track, these cars, and it'll be interesting to see. The first race of the season is always interesting to see where people shake out on speed and stuff compared to each other, so that's kind of what I've been the most interested in, see how it's going to shape up.
Alright, that is Leaf Justin 24, our race winner from the first leg of our races tonight at Daytona. And while we're here, let's see if we can grab our second place finisher, Stanton Drums 94. You were catching him there at the end, but just not quite enough. What more did you need? Where did you lose the most time? Just talk about your race at Daytona.
Sum it up, power. I ended up cooking the engine into the bus stop on the second time through of trying to catch him. And from that point forward, I could catch him in certain areas in the turns, but every single straightaway, he was just able to pull away. So I needed to be everywhere around him instead of further away. That way I could try and maybe use his bumper later on.
All right, very quickly, what are your thoughts and feelings on the upcoming touring car race at Hakone?
It's a new track that I don't have a lot of experience on, but I have liked it when I do race on it. As for the car, haven't had a lot of time in it, so hopefully it'll come to me as the race goes.
All right, that is your second place finisher, Stanton Drums 94, and let's grab our third place finisher on the podium, Frozen Toast 24. Usually you are giving the interviews. Today you were going to receive one. How was your experience here this first race?
It was a fun race. I was not expecting to get podium, so I'll definitely take that. Put in some time just trying to get the layout down and the feel of the car, because as you guys know, I'm usually in the booth, but it was a lot of fun being out here and getting to be on the other side of it and race, so I'm happy about it, how it went.
Well, it was fun seeing you out there, fun seeing you racing hard. Speaking of racing hard, you're going to have to do it one more time here tonight at Hakone, however you say it. What are your thoughts on the upcoming race here in a few moments?
You know, I think it's going to be a lot closer. There's going to be some bumping and banging, so I'm just going to hold on and see where we end up. But it should be a fun race, and I think you're going to see a lot of close racing out here.
Well, that is our third place finisher, Frozen Toast 24. I'm going to leave these guys alone so they can get to practice and whatnot, and we're going to have some fun here the rest of the night. All right, let me get these settings back to where they need to be. And I don't know how to work a menu.
There's going to be a lot of hanging on and a lot of bumping and banging.
I don't know how to work a menu because I suck at the game.
We're gonna be in for some bent fenders and hurt feelings after this one, I think.
All right, as you can see, we are already set up for the new race that is coming up. We're in the touring cars, and we're here at Hakone. And so, while we're waiting on these guys to complete their setup for this event, let's take a look at a lap around the upcoming track tonight. All right, coming out of the final corner here at Hakone, Club Reverse. Down the long straightaway, under a lot of lights, very pretty to look at racetrack. A lot of flowing corners, not a lot of places to pass. Here's one of your main passing zones. Somewhat hard braking into turn 1. You'll use a lot of curb here. The switchback at turn 2, there will likely be a lot of dive bombs. Seen a lot of those in the practices as another attempt to pass. Up the hill here into the somewhat sweeping turn 3. Again, a potential passing zone, although you're going to have to make a really bold move to get it done. Swing out to the outside here down this long straightaway. Look at all the cherry blossoms. This track will look gorgeous under the lights here once these guys get going. A very difficult corner. It's flat out, but you have to get it just right. Maybe used a little too much curb there. Want to keep it off the curbs to maintain speed. Very difficult corner. Dive in there hard. Let it swing all the way out to the outside so you can set up for this late apex where it really tightens up. Use as much of the racetrack as you can while staying legal. Get back going straight. Make it a straight shot toward the start-finish line to maximize that lap time. And that is a lap around Hakone, Club Reverse. right. Very, very short track. Not a lot of opportunities to pass. A flowing racetrack can look really pretty under the lights. Definitely a good-looking racetrack. Of course, this is one of the Forza fantasy racetracks that they come up with, usually to show off their graphical quality and whatnot. And so, obviously, it's going to be a good-looking racetrack and should be a really fun race to watch. It's going to be real difficult to pass. Some of these guys are probably going to have to use their bumpers to try to make the move work. We saw in the previous race a lot of beating and banging. Should see that here tonight. One difference from the previous race is it is going to be a stopped start, a launch start instead of a rolling start. No pace lap this time. So we will see how these guys do taking off from thing. It doesn't seem like they have actually started their qualifying session yet, which they need to get to here pretty quickly. But let's go back and sort of talk back on the race we just watched at Daytona. Again, a lot of action throughout the field. Seemed to sort of to separate themselves into little packs, which comes from the territory of it being difficult to pass. It's kind of the way that always tends to work, is you get stuck behind maybe a driver that you're a little faster than, but you can't find that opportune time to pass, and it's very easy to make mistakes at times. And it looks like they are now starting practice and qualifying. And once again, not giving me the option to ready up, or not giving the option to go into spectate mode, which is very disappointing. So we'll just have to wait until the race starts. We'll have to do it the same way we did the previous time. But Leaf Justin 24, Stanton Drums, and Frozen Toes getting off to a very good start as far as the mixed points goes. But both series each has their own point system, as well as there's a point system for both series combined. So at the end of the day, there will be 3 champions crowned. Of course, it's very likely that there will at least be 2 that are the same person. Likely, you would imagine, potentially all 3. We have just lost a driver. We lost a couple of drivers. We could get out there into, just for heck of it, let's get out there in practice. Sit out on a racetrack. Make a couple of laps just for fun. Since we got a lot of time to kill here, and I've already shown the lap around, let's just get out here and we'll see where some of these drivers are stacking up in practice. We'll go find a nice place to park and watch. Let's see, right here. So anyways, here is beautiful Hakone. Not really sure how to pronounce it. Need to get that right. Needed to do a little more but this is one of the more interesting corners, the long sweeping left-hander that will pull out onto the straight here. You don't really end up using all of that runoff area, as you have to set yourself up for the next corner, and you want to get a straight launch down to the start-finish line. But again, this is going to be it's a very fast racetrack without a lot of opportunity to pass. Very flowing corners, long sweeping turns, very, very difficult to set up a pass cleanly. Turn 1 is going to be one of your best options, as well as about the center part of the final corner. And you can see several different theories for exiting that corner. You saw Skyland with a very shallow exit going down to the start-finish line. You can see Leaf Justin taking the completely wrong part of the racetrack to go around the outside of me. Ferrari 94 going by as well. 6 minutes left in practice, and with this game, practice and qualifying are one and the same. Oh, that was not Ferrari Nut. I had the wrong person there. But currently Ferrari Nut leading the practice times with a 107, now with a 106, and that's about where you'll expect the times to be, is in the mid 106s. That's about what I've seen in practice. 106.5s or should be it, and that happens like as the tires get a little bit warmer, track gets a little grippier, get a little more confidence in your racing line and the race car itself. So these guys are going to be able to run those mid 1.6s. But again, doesn't matter in traffic. Going to have to figure out a way to make passes on people. And this is going to be a very difficult place to do that. Should have a lot of action. Should have a lot of, maybe some hurt feelings. Who knows? We'll see here. As these drivers come around the racetrack. The headlights are on. A very, very pretty race course. Even if it isn't the most meaty of racetracks as far as difficulty or places to, and I'm about to get killed. Ferrari Nut with a 106.9 still is the top time on the racetrack. And of course, difficult to see what actual lap times are out there, as some laps are dirty. It's a very easy track to dirty your lap on, especially on corner exit here in the final corner. Oh. I have no idea what Gary from Canada did to run a 35.2, but he did it. That has got to be a glitch time of some sort. Three and a half minutes remaining until we get started for the actual race. Once again, I'd like to talk about our sponsors. Don't have any of those, but this would be an opportunity to talk about sponsors if we had some. Good opportunity to take a break or crack open a delicious drink of unknown brand. Alright, let's head over to qualifying just for funsies and see what kind of lap times are being put up. Ferrari Nut has 107.137 out on the board at the moment. That is currently your pole sitter. Once again, let's post up somewhere out on the racetrack. And this track is strange. I don't know if it's turf or whatever, but that's gravel. Gravel really bad. But you have this this turf here that's, if you stick your tires out on it, it is going to make your day very not fun. But Coming around for qualifying. Ferrari Nut currently with a 107.1, still the top lap time. Go with Stanton drums. Not sure what time he is putting in. Of course, I can't. It's unfortunate that I can't. 107 flat. Currently, your pole time for Red Nut 94. Trying to make up for lost time from the previous event where he started toward the back of the pack. And was able to fight his way up to the 4th position. It looks like he is going to have a much better starting position this time around. Dion for Dub and Jacob X99 completing their laps. Skylin and Scarface coming around as well. A dirty 106.9 and a dirty 107.9 are going to be the bottom of the board at the moment. Those times being deleted, as they would say in F1 parlance. We've Justin making his, I believe, final lap here. We'll see. Or that might have been him coming to pit road. Well, qualifying is over here. So our winner from the previous race is going to be looking uphill in this one, fighting an uphill battle. Gonna have to work to just get on the podium as we look at our starting lineup for the upcoming event at Hakone, Japan, in the touring cars. Ferrari Nut 94 on the pole, trying to decide what tires he wants. Stanton Drums 94 starting in P2 yet again for the 2nd time tonight. Legit 14, a big rebound from the previous race. He will be starting P3. JC will roll off in P4. Scarface in the Audi rolls off in the 5th position. Jacob X99 in the Merc will be P6. Frozen Toes 24 looking to back up her podium run from the previous race. Will be starting in 7th position. Dion for Dub, who was able to hold on to 5th previously, will be starting in 8th. Gary from Canada in the Mercedes-Benz in P9. Launching from the 10th position will be Sober David in the Honda. Rolling off 11th will be the GT race winner, Leaf Justin 24, deep in the pack here in 11th. And Skylin 4, rolling off in the 12th position. He will be starting shotgun on the field here in about 18 seconds. And of course, there's yours truly in the old shake and bake Mercedes. He will be heading off into the booth. And that is your starting lineup for the touring car race at Hakone. And I won't be able to catch the beginning of this race because of having to back out as soon as I can. So that's unfortunate, but so let's get back into the Oh, man. This game. Anyways, we'll see where we stand. Coming out of the corner, Ferrari Nut holds on to the lead. Legit on the inside of Stanton Drums, able to take over the second position. Stanton's holding strong on his right rear, but Legit pushes him out wide. That will force Stanton Drums to fall in line in the third spot, as they will work on each other coming out of the corner onto the long back straight. Looking back at the field through the long, sweeping little switchback before they head into the long, sweeping final corner. We'll see what kind of a lunge we get. Stanton Drums, or that was Legit getting really loose on entry underneath Stanton Drums. Those two are leaning on each other. They are closing in on Ferrari Nut while side by side. Meanwhile, JC goes very wide on corner exit, but will be able to hold on to the fourth. Stanton Drums falls in line in third. Legit holds on to second. Ferrari Nut 94 leads lap 1 here at Hakone. Now let's do some quick and once again, that is glitch. That is absolutely annoying and ridiculous. But anyways, here's the battle for second. Actually, the battle for third starting to heat up as Stanton Drums and JC side by side heading down this long straightaway. The Oreo Audi inside of the generic Audi through the switchback, staying on. Stanton Drums in danger of losing another spot, but Jacob has to bail out, going just a little bit wide around the outside. Maybe a little bit of contact, not sure. Having to set up for this final corner, but JC able to move into the third position once again. Goes a little wide there. Not sure how the officials are going to look at that. I'm probably going to let that go, but not sure. A huge lunge up ahead from JC as he is looking on. Or actually, that is Legit looking to try to take the lead away from Ferrari Nut 94. Not letting Ferrari Nut ride off into the sunset yet again. I believe that is the 5th time I have said that this evening. Going over that rumble strap that will actually dirty your lap, but it feels like it's a legal enough exit. Meanwhile, Scarface 3D has had an issue. He is well behind the pack, half the track behind right now. So not the start to this race that he was looking for, not the evening overall, I believe, that he was imagining when this all got started. Ferrari Nut able to gain a little bit of ground there on Legit. Legit not able to get down to the apex of the exit. That's going to give him a little bit less of a launch. JC closing in on his rear end, while Ferrari Nut getting a little bit smaller out of his windshield. Meanwhile, Leafs Justin, who started 11th, he is up into the 7th position, looking for 6th on the inside of Frozen Toes. Frozen holding strong on the outside, maybe a little bit of a pinch. Justin able to get back in line in front of Jacob X99, who has fallen back several positions since the start of this race. They are in line, heading on to the back straight. Frozen a little bit loosey-goosey there under the brakes. Justin unable to capitalize on that small mistake. Meanwhile, up in second and third, JC looking to try to make a pass on Legit. This is going to be the opportunity to do it. How will you set it up? There are multiple ways to try to set up this corner. Probably not one correct way, but there definitely seems to be one, or there are multiple decent ways. Maybe there is one best way, but you can make a pass if you can find one of those good ways to make that move around. But JC holding on to the rear end of Legit here. 1 car length back as they cross the start-finish line. Already 4 laps into this race. Only 10 remaining. JC goes a little bit too deep, but so does Legit. Might have seen him get big in his mirror there, then makes a mistake in both of those corners. That's going to allow Ferrari Nut to pull away even further, while these two drivers fall back into the clutches of Stanton Drums 94 as we almost have a 3-way battle for this second position. Heading down to the back straight. under the lights here. Gorgeously rendered racetrack. One of Forza's fantasy tracks, but it looks great. And so far has made for some really close racing here in the middle of the pack. JC trying to figure out a way to set up a pass here on Legit. Not quite able to. A little shallower through the center. That's gonna hurt his exit here. He's really gonna go wide. Really using all the track limits that he can there. We'll see what kind of move he tries to make here. He's gonna look to the left rear of Legit. Legit gets in there a little deep. JC gonna try to cross him here, maybe do a double cross. As Legit gets in there, really slides it. JC gets a little bit tight through the center, not able to make that move back. These two continue to race hard for the second position, while Stanton Drums watches on in the 4th spot. Skylan and Leaf Justin, Jacob X99, all separated by about a second. Frozen Toast 24, she has fallen to the 8th spot from the 6th spot where she was a lap or two ago, but still all these drivers within at least about a second and a half of each other. Best battle on the track, though, is this battle for the second position. JC really dives it in there. Maybe a little bit timid on the entry out of Legit. That is going to allow JC to make that pass. Again, JC going wide. It looked like everyone else behind him has decided they're going to do the exact same thing. Followed him through there. We'll see if Legit makes that move back on JC, or if JC is able to get a little gap here and maintain this second position. Really able to wrap that first half well. Sets himself up for the second corner, but gets in just a little bit deep. Four drivers under a blanket here for the second position as they go over that rumble strip. JC, Legit, Stanton Drums, and Skylan all within striking distance of each other for this second spot, while Ferrari Nut rides off into the distance ahead of each other. Ahead of these guys, I should say. Once again, Legit taking that wider entry, but just not quite able to get down to the rumble strip there on exit. That's where you really want to get to. All these guys kind of missing it, but that is just a very difficult corner to make. Second, third, fourth, and fifth crossing the line again. Only about less than 2 seconds separating these guys. Legit starting to fall into the clutch of the Stanton Drums 94. Stanton able to look to his inside there on the left-hander, not quite able to make the pass. The Audi able to get around. Legit did not have a good exit that corner. He loses a spot to Stanton and Skylan as well, as these three bounce off of each other. Moves Skylan up to the 3rd spot. He's able to get 2 drivers in 1 set of turns. Stanton Drums maintains the 4th spot, and Legit falls back 2 spots into the 5th. Let's go back to the battle for the 8th position here between Gary from Canada and Sober David. Only a 1/10 of a second separating these two. Sober David looking to the inside, not quite able to clear him. Gary from Canada, it's Canada versus Ireland here down the front straight. Not quite able to make this pass. This is a difficult track to make passes at. But we have seen a lot of action. We have seen drivers be able to make their way through the field. And looking through the running order here, Frozen Toast 24 falling back to the 11th spot. Dion in 10th. Let's look and see how these drivers have done since the beginning of this race, as we only have less than 5 to go. Our biggest mover has been Skylan up 9. Leaf Justin has gone up 5. Meanwhile, Scarface has fallen 7, and Frozen Toast 24 has fallen 4. Those have been your biggest movers and losers so far through this event, as Gary from Canada maintains that 8th position, trying to hold off Sober David. Let's look back up here in the battle for the third position between Skyland and Stanton. Not a lot of opportunity to make a pass there. We'll see what kind of running they can get down the straightaway here. Again, use up a fair amount of racetrack. These drivers, they were working hard to try to stay within the track limits earlier, but now not so much. Using all of the racetrack they can, everything that is paved, and to my knowledge, it's all legal. So if you can drive on it, why not? So far, this is the closest battle on the racetrack. Stanton has fallen back from Skyland, but Legit now starting to attack back after losing spots to these drivers at the beginning of this race. Legit in that 5th spot, looking to try to make up a split position on Stanton Drums. 94, not close enough to dive in here into turn 1. Going to be looking to try to get through this series of corners well enough to maybe make a move on the back straight. Once again, this battle for 8th raging on. Sober David trying everything he can to try to get around Gary from Canada. Not quite been able to do so. He is still working on it, though. Gonna try to get a good run here. Gary breaking the draft for the 8th position. You like to see it out of the old man from Canada. What kind of a lunge will he be able to get into this final corner? Gary really wrapping the bottom here. That's going to hurt him on exit if Sober David can get this run, and it looks like he's going to be able to now to get through the gears, maintain that position. He is on the left rear of Gary from Canada. This is the best he has looked since I have started watching this battle. We'll see if he's able to outbrake him into the corner. He does so, a little bit loose, but an excellent pass from Sober Dave and move him up into the 8th position around Gary from Canada, who falls back into 9th. Meanwhile, Legit 14 has been able to get around Stanton Drums 94. So move him up to 4th, Stanton back down into 5th. Legit has come back alive after a rough mid-portion of the race. Looking forward, it's going to be a tough ask to try to catch Skyland here in these final 2 laps, as we only have 2 laps remaining. This race has gone by in a flash, especially compared to that previous one. Haven't looked at our leader much. Let's look at Ferrari Nut 94 right up against the wall, down to the rumble strip in turn 1. Really uses a wide arc there into turn 2. Rolls right up against that turf on the outside. Hard braking, misses the apex a little bit there, but uses the rumble strip. Still gets a decent enough launch, but JC staying in touch, less than a second back now. He has been able to gain a little bit in these final laps here. We'll be coming around to the white flag here. JC still within 9/10, a little bit under here. Let's see what kind of a final corner he can get. Maybe try to set something up down the front straight. The lead is a half a second. JC is there. He is almost in dive bomb range. Not quite there, but very, 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 very close. If Ferrari Nut makes even the smallest mistake, and JC knew it, he's the one that made a mistake, gets into turn 1 way too deep. But now Ferrari Nut, he misses the exit a little bit, maybe trying to late apex it there, but it looks like JC still managed to get the better run off of the corner. Really tight together. Ferrari Nut gonna have to get a good exit here, not able to. JC right on his bumper. One car link separates these two as they head down into the whatever turn number it is, into the little switchback, right before the final corner. What kind of a move will JC pull? He looks to the outside. Will he try to set up a cross? Ferrari going to shove him a little bit wide, get clear of him by about a lane and a half. JC really going to send it into the inside. Moves Ferrari Nut out of the way. Those two side by side. Ferrari Nut not able to get to him. Jarrett Cardwell, JC is going to win here at Hakone. What a finish! Skyland comes home in P3, legit. Comes home fourth. Stanton jumps fifth. Leaves Justin able to get up to sixth. Jacob finishes in seventh. Gary 8th. Dion 9th. David 10th. Frozen 11th. And Scarface in 12th. That is the finishing order here in your second race of the evening. But what a finish that was! What a crazy, crazy, crazy race. Wow. What a race. Let's get through this screen here, and then let's see if we can talk to our top 3 finishers from this previous event. Wow, what a race! What a race that was!
But you have to sit there and wait for it to download your replay.
It doesn't
Yeah,
take
I
long.
see.
Mine did it in like.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, no,
Oh.
okay, so now
awesome.
you have 20 minutes to go access it, or else it goes away. You have 20 minutes once you download it to access it, or else it'll disappear.
Well, let's take up a few of those minutes right here to talk to our race winner from that. Talk about that final lap there, Jarrett. And wow, that was crazy. I'll let you have it.
Man, it was crazy. I had the draft. Definitely helped there. I don't think I was necessarily faster than Ferrari. I honestly thought he was just sandbagging for me, but set it up going into the last turn and was able to get it down, made it stuck, and pulled it off. That's all I got.
Well, I guess that's it. What were you thinking there about mid portion of the race? Did you think you had something for him? How were you feeling about the car? Just what was going through your mind when you started reeling him in?
No, I thought whenever that Legit and I lost the draft, I thought that was it, honestly. But I'm assuming I saved tires a little bit better. It definitely seemed like the last corner I had an advantage, so maybe I figured something else out there in the 15 laps, whatever we did. So used it to my advantage and was able to make the pass. I figured coming up to him, I had one shot to get him, and if not, he was going to get the draft and just pass me right back. So worked out to be able to be the best turn that I had and made it stick.
Well, that is JC, our race winner, in a crazy finish. Let's look at the other side of that. Ferrari Nut 94 had to battle through the first race. This race looked like smooth sailing until the end. What was that race like? What was your mindset there, those final laps, seeing him get close in the mirror?
I mean, I was just ragging the car on absolutely everything it was worth. There was definitely no sandbagging going on that. I mean, there was a few times into turn one. I have a very interesting technique with these cars where I can kind of ride the brake a little bit and get the back end to swing out just a hair, which helps it rotate on entry. And I was using that for every bit it was worth through that first corner, and even the last one to an extent. Just trying to carry as much speed through the corner as possible, and he was just a little bit quicker there. I don't know where he pulled a 106.3 out of, because that is just an insane lap time. I mean, I'm down here at a 6.6, and that was quicker than I'd run all week. So I don't know where he pulled that out of, but yeah, just the last corner, I figured he was going to try to sail it up the inside, but no, he was patient with it and waited for the exit and just gave me a little bump. And yeah, the thought crossed my mind to come back across and just clean him out. But you know, we've been friends too long to do that stuff and start doing that stuff. So I just kind of decided I'll let him have that one. He's earned it. Not very often he's over the however many years we've been doing this. Not very often he's been able to chase me down and pass me on merit. So,
Dude, he just won a freaking league race, man.
That is
League race, man. It's been like 10 years, dude. Like,
You don't know when you're ever gonna win another one.
you don't know when you're gonna win another one of these. It's so
you really
special.
don't. You really don't.
Oh, but honestly, that's the first league win I've had in years.
Yeah, and you earned every bit of it. So there's nothing in the slightest to feel bad about that. Especially, you know,
Already
that's
washed.
okay, birthday
Well,
boy.
Right quick, let's go and see if we can run down our third place finisher behind that crazy battle. Skylan, talk about your evening?
Messed up qualifying. Had both my laps dirty, so I started from the back and enjoyed the chaos and the love taps back there. Managed to work my way through and just didn't fade as much as anybody else except for Jarrett. Tried to not get into trouble and whittled away at it. Basically what I was trying to do on the PT race, just I binned the car. This time I didn't bin it.
Well, glad you didn't bin it. Solid finish here, P3. That was an awesome race there. Fun night of racing. Congrats to Leaf Justin and JC on their victories tonight. We will see y'all next week. Not sure exactly where we're racing, but we'll pull the schedule up here before we sign out, and y'all will be able to see it. So, again, thanks for watching. Catch y'all on the flip side. I am out.